Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Farming Simulator 25 gameplay trailer. And I must say that I'm even more excited than I already was for the release of the game after seeing this trailer, because it is absolutely fantastic and there's just so many new and incredible things coming to the game. So let's get straight into the trailer and I'll begin going over everything. Okay, starting with the introduction to this trailer, we have the new spinach crop being harvested by the Oxbow MKB 4TR harvester. Then we get a look at some piglets, so baby animals are coming to the game, which is amazing. And here we can see the new Senbogen telehandler, with some cows and calves just on the left. Then there's these prestige trailers with the John Deere harvester working through the field, and also the MacDon windrower swathing this crop. Then for the most impressive one, we have tornadoes, so there is going to be natural disasters in FS25. Which did take me by surprise because I wasn't expecting anything like this to be in the game. And that was the first few clips to introduce this trailer, which was all very short and fast paced. But now we're getting into the main part of the trailer, which shows everything in much more detail. So we're starting with this shot of the water tower on Riverbend Springs, which is the new American map. And in the background there's some fields, buildings and a silo on the left, but it's hard to see much more in the distance due to the fog. Then we have actually seen this shot before, of the Sunset Sunflower Farm sign, but still it's a really nice looking farm, and through the gap in the sign we can also see the farmer's market in the background and a coach just to the left. And I'm pretty sure that this will be the main farm on Riverbend Springs, as it's the one that we've seen the most of. For the next clip we can see what I think is the New Holland T7 230 tractor, just coming into view as it goes past the trees. Okay, now we have the cows and calves, which as I said is amazing to see baby animals come into the base game. They are also very well detailed and animated, as you can see here with the calf leaping around. Then here we have a longer clip of the MacDon windrower swathing this crop. And I'm not sure if this is wheat or barley, but either way it's being cut down and put into a swath, which can then be picked up by a normal harvester with the MacDon pickup header attached to it. And remember, if you want to get the MacDon pack for free, you need to pre-order FS25. If not, you'll have to buy it separately once the game's released. Okay, now we get another look at the Oxbow spinach harvester, where we can see its lights hitting the grass as it drives along, and shadows are being casted on the ground from the harvester. Then here we have what I believe is a Challenger tractor with twin track wheels on, but I'm pretty sure this clip was to show off the God rays coming through the trees rather than the tractor. Okay, now we have another look at the pigs and piglets. You'll see there's different sizes for the baby animals as well, because the piglet that's laying down is much smaller than the one sitting behind it. So I think we could be seeing the animals growing as they get older. Maybe there's a couple of stages between them being babies to fully grown. And we can see how good the animations are for them, with their ears flapping around as they run towards us. Now there's this case quad track cultivating a field with a very wide cultivator, and of course there's the fog and lighting effects on the trees in the distance. Right, in this clip we have the Massey Ferguson pulling a new seeder, which is from a brand called Novag, so that's another new brand that is coming to Farming Simulator 25. And here we have a close-up of it sowing this field, with the dust and soil coming up around it. But if you look at the wheels, you'll see each one is moving individually and adjusting to the ground. So the equipment is going to have much better animations in FS25. Now we're seeing some spinach being harvested by the Oxbow, and there's a Fendt tractor on the side of the field with a Brantner power tube trailer attached to it. Then this here is a really nice shot where we can see the spinach being taken into the machine as it's harvested. Right, now we have a look at some rain starting to come down, and we can see it splashing off the road as it hits it, but also the difference in the size of raindrops. Then we get to see how the water droplets sit on our vehicles, with the mirrors having lots of water drops on them, and the window wiper is also moving. So when we're driving in first person, we'll be able to see the water droplets getting wiped away by them. Again, here we have the rain coming down over this field of long grain rice, which is another one of the new crops coming to the game. Then we have the John Deere S7 harvester that's had to stop harvesting the rice due to the rain. And in the background we have the John Deere 9R pulling a new auger wagon, plus there's also a new truck with two trailers attached to it in a train style. And we can see the new truck here, which is the International Transtar. And despite being new to the game, it is actually an old, or should I say retro truck, as I'm sure you can tell by the look of it. But it's really nice to see older vehicles added into the game, especially with how amazing this truck looks. We also have the new auger wagon, which is the J&M X1112. So with this and the truck, that's another 2 brands added to FS25, those being International and J&M. Besides that, there is still quite a lot more to see in this clip, such as the water droplets on the vehicles, which is quite visible on the chrome exhaust of the truck, and of course the tyres have that dark and wet look to them. Then one of the most noticeable things is the character running through the rain. And what's interesting about this is that we got to see a third person view of the character in screenshots before, and also in some new ones that was released. Which makes me think that what people have been speculating about us getting a third person view in FS25 could be correct. Because I don't think we'd be seeing as much of the characters in this view if it wasn't to show off something that we're getting in the game. Especially with this being a gameplay trailer. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Then for the last thing in this clip, you'll see there's a lightning flash in the sky, so the weather is beginning to get worse. Then here we can see the weather has really taken a turn for the worst, with this tornado ripping through the map. And as I said, these tornadoes really did take me by surprise, because Giants hadn't mentioned anything about them previously. But I do like the idea of having these natural disasters happen, because like I've said in my previous videos, I wanted to see the weather impact the gameplay a lot more for such a long time. However, I certainly wasn't thinking about tornadoes when I said that, although these definitely will make quite the impact. And in this shot we can see the tornado coming across the map a lot clearer, because there isn't as much fog. You'll see the rain is much heavier during the tornadoes as well, and there is actually debris being picked up by it. So that's a very nice effect that shows the destruction it's causing. And it does look quite realistic with the speed it's moving at and the debris flying around in the air. Right now we're actually inside of the tornado as it comes over these trees and hits the field beneath us. Then here you'll notice the tornado has become much wider than it was earlier, so the tornado will actually become larger as it goes on. Now in this shot we can see the sign for the ferry, and it says Pill Ferry operated by the Arkansas State Highway and Transportation Department. So that lets us know which state the River Bend Springs map is based in. There is also a weight limit of 14 and 25 tons, so I don't know whether or not that's just for the sign or we won't actually be able to use the ferry if we exceed the weight limit. Then lastly, it says normal operating hours, daylight hours. Note, ferry will not operate during periods of high winds, waves or heavy fog. Last trip 8 PM. So the ferry isn't going to be something we can use whenever we like, because there's certain conditions it won't operate in, and it also makes its last trip at 8 PM. But I do think it's good that we can't just use the ferry whenever we want to, and it won't cross the water in bad weather, because that makes it more realistic. Then here we have the tornado still going on, and the trees are blowing around a lot more in this clip than they have been in the previous ones. And now we're moving towards the tornado, with lots of debris flying past us in the air. Then we've got this shot of the top of the International truck as it drives away from the storm. Right, now we're at the end of the tornado, where we can see the destruction it has caused to the map. Starting with this field where the crop has been destroyed. And from this angle we can see the path which the tornado went across the field, with it only taking out the bottom part of this crop. So that's pretty cool how the crops only get ripped up in the areas the tornado hits. Then we have these trees that have snapped in the tornado, so it's not just crops that are damaged during the storm, which is really nice to see. And having these natural disasters is such a fantastic addition to the game, because knowing that we could be hit by a tornado and lose parts of our crops gives us something to think about throughout the year. But if you don't like the idea of the tornadoes and your crops being damaged, then don't worry because you will be able to turn them off, just like how we can turn off crop destruction in FS22. Okay, now we're moving on to the last few clips, where we get to see the New Holland T7 230, which I mentioned earlier. And the main thing that caught my eye here is how amazing the paintwork looks, which is thanks to the addition of the clear coat layer that gives the paint a much more realistic shine and finish. Then here we have the T7 about to sow this field with the Grimmy Matrix planter. And you'll see the soil on this field is actually wet, which looks incredible with the sun shining on it. Then we get a better look at the new Senbogen telehandler as it brings this bale out of the shed. And Senbogen do actually make a lot of telehandlers with cabs that raise up as well, so maybe we could be seeing them in the game. Right, now we're back over at the field of long grain rice, where we can see the J&M auger wagon coming to be unloaded into these prestige trailers. And here we have the pipe unfolding from the J&M before it begins unloading. Okay, now we get to see the same Challenger tractor with the twin wheels from earlier, but this time it's sowing a field with the Great Plains solid stand 1500 seeder. Then we're seeing the Oxbow harvester again, but this time it's raising up to unload the spinach crop into the Brantner power tube trailer. Now we have another look at the John Deere S7 harvesting the long grain rice. And here we have an incredible looking scene of this Voucher tractor driving along the road, with the lighting effects in the distance and some very realistic looking foliage just in front of us. Then to finish off the trailer, we have this lamb jumping around, which again is very well animated and detailed. And that brings us to the end of this gameplay trailer, where you can see Farming Simulator 25 will be released on November 12th and is available for pre-order now. Again, if you pre-order FS25, you will receive the MacDom pack for free, so in my opinion, it's definitely worth doing. But yeah, the gameplay trailer for FS25 was absolutely incredible, and showed us tons of new things that are coming to the game. From new machinery brands, new vehicles and equipment, baby animals, and even tornadoes. So some very exciting stuff, and the game just looks amazing. I really do think FS25 is going to exceed our expectations when it's released as well, because every time we get new footage and information, there's just more and more things that have been added to the game. And we still haven't seen the Asian or European map yet, so I'm sure there's still plenty of other things that Giants hasn't shown us. So I can't wait to see what else we're going to find out about the game over the next few months before it's released. Anyway, that's everything for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by leaving a like and feel free to subscribe so you never miss another video.